Yeah. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. This is Shanmugaraj. As I told earlier, I'm planning to produce useful videos on project management, agile and leadership studies. Today we're going to begin with our comments with a new topic called product agility as part of agile series. Right? So let's get into the video. So we need to understand who is the product owner. I already talked to you in one of the videos in detail about Scrum. We talked about the role of the product owner, right? The product owner is a decision maker on the products. Fundamentally, the role exists to help represent the needs of both business stakeholders and the users within the complex environment, right? The contents, features, bugs, maintenance activities, documentation, and enhancements in a single ordered list that can be turned into a working product. Right, so basically they'll take care of the product backlog, they'll take care of product vision and roadmap and everything. Right, so they work with the business stakeholders, they work with the users, they decide the priority, they communicate to development team, they make them understand the needs and wants of customer, help them in prioritizing, help them in planning in terms of you know sprint as well as the release levels. So the product owner involved in planning, daily scrum, refinement, sprint review and retrospective. Alright, what are the roles and responsibilities? He or she is a single person. I mean, the product owner owns and orders the product backlog, owns the product goal, clearly express the product backlog items, optimize the value of the work, makes the product backlog and goals visible. Is very very important. Make the product backlog and goals visible and ensures that the developer understand what is required. It's very very important, right? It's not about only the presenting the backlog and it's making it visible. A very good responsibility is make developers understand that this they understood is very important. Understanding of the developers on the requirement is very very important. It is product owner's role to ensure that to clarify things, to make them understand, right? So this diagram talks about the balancing act the product owner takes between the internal development and the market demands, right? So he talks about what's the right thing, and he discuss with development team, is it viable, right? So how is a typical day of a product owner looks like? He might or she might attend a daily stand up, then they will lead refinement search, meet the user group, lunch with the scrum master, review the KPIs, be ready meeting with the developers, preparation for planning, call with the leadership team. Right, this could be the typical day a product owner might get revolved into that. Right. So this particular video series I'm talking about the product agility, right? Predominantly, the product agility, the role of product owners can be categorized into two visible areas. One is the product grooming, the other area is the sprint planning meeting. So even though they are part of almost all the ceremonies of a Scrum, so they will lead or they chair the product grooming and sprint planning meeting. So these are the scope of this product agility video series I'm planning to cover, right? So on product grooming and sprint planning. So day by day, every day we'll cover one small topic on these areas on in product agility. Okay, so let's start with multi-level planning where the product owner is involved in it. See, it's then in upcoming videos we'll talk about in detail about each level of planning, right? So this particular picture talks about multi-level planning is done by the scrum team and the leadership. So essentially the main person involved in this planning is are taking a decision at different levels of training. I mean planning is one person is the product owner at decides at the release level and above level, right? So there are three types of multi-level planning happens at in scrum. First one is the release plan, right? So typically it happens every 3 to 6 months. Release plan is owned by the product owner, and there is a sprint plan, right? So typically it might happen every 2 or 4 weeks. So done by uh, the team, actually team, and along with the product owner and scrum master, they desire the sprint planning, and there's a daily plan. It happens at daily scrum meetings, right? Which is taken care by the team by themselves. All right, so if you look at this particular picture, this tell you that how that product is getting evolved, what are the levels of churning happening. So the product starts with the product vision, and product vision is brought it down in the roadmap, and then the roadmap to release, and then releases are further brought down into sprint and daily stand up, right? So these are 5 levels of product grooming happens at different strategic as well as operational levels. So in a vision, generally the product owner or product manager decides, coming out of the list of strategic themes and goals. At roadmap level, it might contain number of epics, in a particular roadmap. A product roadmap might contain 20 or 30 epics that can be rolled out in within a year or two, right? So then the release level planning contains the number of features, how many features a release might have. 30 features and 50 features. At sprint level, we talk about stories. At daily planning level, we talk about tasks. So this is how the equivalent of deliverables or artifacts. It happens at different levels of planning. You need to understand that how that strategic themes and goals is being brought out into epics, and then it's brought down as features and stories. It's very very important for a product owner to understand that these are the responsibilities of the product owner to give the product planning perspective, right? Let's understand the planning level as well as the how to represent it and who creates it and what is the frequency of it, right? So vision statement is represented as an elevator statement. It can be a vision poster, a press release, or a one page or one. Who creates it? Actually it is done by product owner and above. Actually it can be someone like vice president, product head, or someone like product director, or someone like senior project managers who might be involved in this. Creating a vision is done once in a year. Actually the roadmap is contains two to three releases. Generally might have 2 to 4 releases. Is owned by the product owner. It is reviewed twice in a year, right? The release planning happens every quarter maybe, right? So it's done by owned by the product owner with the help of teams as well, right? So they can use the help of teams here. So release planning is represented by the release plan itself, and then sprint level planning happens, which is part of the scrum, right? So it is represented by sprint goal and sprint backlog, owned by scrum team. Actually so it's not the product owner. The sprint backlog and sprint goal is owned by the scrum team. It can be of 2 weeks or 4 weeks, right? And then daily sprint, it's happening on sprint backlog. It's owned by the development team. It is reviewed on a daily basis. So these are the 5 levels of planning, and it talks about how to represent these product planning levels, and then what is the frequency, right? So with that, we have come to a conclusion of today's introduction video on product agility. Right. So hope this the product agility series is going to be helpful to product owners and product managers and product leaders, right? On how do we help the team in product decisions, right? We'll talk about all these integral parts of project agility in upcoming videos. Okay, so hope you got a fair idea about how do we do that agile product planning, how do we do that at multi-level planning, how to represent vision, how to represent roadmap, and how frequently we can review that, right? So this is very very important for a product owner to understand and help the team in product decisions, being and doing a balance act between, right, the business stakeholders and the development team, right? So it's very very critical the product owner understands all these concepts as well as the application of it. So thanks a lot for your patient listening. I would like to listen from the feedback from you on my improvements areas like content, and as well as delivery aspects, right? So thanks for listening. Bye.